Cool. So once again, very good morning, everyone. Hope all of you are doing good. Thank you so much for being here. And let's begin the session. So it's a live analysis of Nifty and Bank Nifty using Bookmap's order flow tools and powered by TrueData. All right. So before I proceed, there is a quick disclaimer. Whatever the information that I'm going to share from now onwards is for educational purpose only. Don't consider it for buy or sell recommendations. Please do thorough research before taking any decisions because stock market investments are subject to market risk. All right, so let's quickly get into the chart. All right, so I'm opening a 30-minute chart now. Right now we are looking into Nifty continuous chart. So basically Nifty futures data, and as usual, okay. So as usual, we go by the framework that we regularly follow. If you are attending our session on a regular basis, you'll be knowing it. But anyway, I just want to recall it again. So it's called a TLE framework. All right. So in simple words, T means a trend. Okay. So T means trend, and L means locations, and E means entry and exit. Okay. So in simple words, T means a trend means at the present moment, the first step is to define the trend, in which way the market is trying to move, whether it is moving in upward direction or downward direction or sideways direction. Once we are clear with the overall direction of the market or the trend of the market, so all it for us to take is all it takes us for us to align with the existing trend of the market. In simple words, let's say if the market is moving in upward direction, okay, so how we define the upward direction? So basically higher highs and higher lows, the basic price action method. So if the market is making higher highs and higher lows, we define it as an uptrend. If the market is making lower lows and lower highs, then we define it as a downtrend. If market is going nowhere and it is making a range kind of a movement, then we will define it as a sideways market. Once we define the direction of the market, we need to align with this particular trend. So in that, the second step is to identify the locations. We don't take a random decisions. We take entry and exits at a specific desirable locations. In simple words, basically the support and resistances for intraday trading, it may be like previous day high, previous day low, or the first 1 hour high and low. We call it as an IB high and IB low. So all these are the levels that we monitor, and we observe the price when the price approaches to those levels, and we take the decisions according to and in line with the existing trend. These two steps complete, so then comes the final step where we take entry and exit triggers, which we do by using the Bookmap tool. So I will be explaining about the process at the present moment. So first let's focus on the trend, in which way the market is trying to move. All right, just a moment. So by just looking at the price, we can clearly identify that from this point onwards, market is clearly making higher highs and higher lows. All right. So in terms of the 30-minute chart, market is presently trending in the upward direction. And if you also see the broader picture, all right, so let me zoom out. Yeah. If you also look at the broader picture, you can clearly see that the market is clearly trending in the upward direction from around 17,000 level. All right, 17,000 level. So in terms of the trend, it is very clear for us, even in the short term and the broader picture, market is presently trending in upward direction. Okay. So in that sense, it all makes sense for us to align with the trend or the primary trend of the market, which is uptrend. So we can look for the long opportunities in Nifty. So let's look into the Bank Nifty chart. All right. So in terms of the Bank Nifty, the same scenario, market is presently trending in the upward direction, and market is at the present moment, even in the short term span. So market took the reversal from around 42,400 level, and it is presently trending in the upward direction by making higher highs and higher lows. So it is very clear for us that we can look for the long opportunities. All right. And then comes the big question that where we can look for the opportunities. At the present moment, it's around 10:08 a.m. All right. So IB range or the first 1 hour range is about to complete. And let's identify the desirable locations, or basically the support and resistances, which are, just a moment. Yeah. which are very critical. So at the present moment, previous day high is somewhere around 43,570. Definitely this level is going to play the critical role. And then we have probable, I think this is going to be the high below, so I'm going to mark that as well, 43,044. And then we have an immediate level which is at 42,680. Why it is important is because you can see here here, and again market took the reversal from the same level. So more the market respect that level, significance of the support and resistance increases, that you already know it. All right, so let's look into the immediate resistances if there are any. All right, so just a moment, let me shift down to daily chart. Yeah, at the present moment we are trading at all-time highs. Absolutely, the 43,570 level is an all-time high for Bank Nifty. Definitely that level is going to play the critical role. All right, so just a moment. And then let's move on to Nifty and mark the crucial level for the day. All right, so just a moment. So if you have any questions, please take a note of it. So I'll be asking the questions once my discussion on the analysis complete. So I'll be moving on to the questions. So if you have any particular questions to ask, this is a probable high. So definitely the day's high is going to play the critical role, 18,685 to 686 level. And considering, and one of the important point, okay, so comparing to Nifty, Bank Nifty is still struggling. Why? Because you can see Bank Nifty is still way too below the all-time high, but Nifty is already, I think it's somewhere around trading at the all-time high already. So it is already breaking out, and the first 1 hour decisive, the first 1 hour bias, or the first 1 hour trading activity shows the clear decisiveness in terms of the buying activity. You can see that this first 30-minute candle, okay, so first 30-minute activity is so decisive that there was no selling pressure at all. So how we can say that? So there is no wick at all. So the break of the previous day high looks decisive in terms of the price. Okay, so once this is clear for you, then we can look into the third step. So far we have completed the first process is to identify the trend, and second process is to identify the desirable locations, in simple words, the support and resistances, where we can monitor our price action. Then comes the third step where we can look for entry and exit. So there are several ways. This is where I'm going to use the Bookmap chart. There are so many ways by which we can look into the entry and exit triggers. Today I'll be explaining the footprint charts along with the combination of absorption indicator. So these footprint charts are recently introduced in just a moment. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so if you just look at the overall Bookmap India Pro version, so in that the footprint charts was recently introduced in the Indian market. So last session also I discussed about the footprint chart. So today I'm going to discuss about the combo of absorption indicator and the footprint chart indicator. All right, so just a moment. Okay, clear. Meanwhile, if you have any questions while discussing about the settings or anything, it may be related to anything today's discussion, please take a note of it. I'll be asking questions and you can use the chat option to interact with me. All right. Well, so let's quickly look into the action. So we can clearly see, I'll disable both absorption and footprint indicator. This is how the bear indicator looks like, or the Bookmap tool looks like. So in this, if you don't know what these lines are, basically it simply means the present. Okay, so for example, this red line indicates best offer, and the green line indicates a best bid at that particular point of time. Okay, so yeah, so it is not a price completed activity or the market price. It is basically the best bid and best offer. The beauty of this particular line is that it shows us the structure within the candle. Okay, so if you just enable the candlestick charts over here, you can do that. So right now I have enabled the 5-minute candlestick charts. So if you just look at the candle, so we will be able to look at open, high, low, close. Okay, so of this particular candle. But by using the best bid and best offer differentiation, so we can clearly look into the structure within the entire candlestick itself. This gives us the opportunity to enter and exit the trades way earlier before even trend occurs. So, or not before even trend occurs, but way earlier in the entire trend. So that's what the benefit of this best bid and best offer line. So we're going to refer to that. Sorry. Now I'm not going to use the candlestick charts here. Once this is clear to you, then we are looking into the bubbles over here. Okay, so this red and green bubbles are nothing but the delta information. So what is delta? Delta means, let's say, market orders. Okay, so in terms of that present moment, let's say 5 orders executed, it's completed orders, market buy orders, and similarly at the same time there is 10 market sell orders in the same price level. So aggressive, this is what we can call it as an aggressive buy or market buy, and this is what we can call it as an aggressive sell or market sell. Aggressive buy minus aggressive sell is equal to delta, in this case minus 5. So if the delta is negative, that means at that price level, at that point of time, aggressive sellers are more aggressive. I mean, they won the overall game at that particular price level. So this is what we can identify. If the delta is positive, then the bubble will be identified in the green level, green color, or if the delta is negative, then it will be identified as the red bubble. And one more thing we can look into the information at the bubble level is that if the bubble is bigger, relative, okay, so this is a relative information, this is not a numerical information. So if you compare this bubble and this bubble, even though they are the same red bubble, so we can clearly see that at this price level, the transactions were more comparing to this price level. Even though the delta is negative over here, the delta in terms of the volume transactions, the transactions were more at this price level. So that's what it indicates in terms of the relativeness. All right. So similar goes with a green bubble as well. So then let's go to the configure add-ons. Okay. So if you go to the configure add-ons button over here, so you'll be able to or I think the footprint chart is by default available for those who have the pro version of bookmap chart. So you can enable the footprint chart over here and the absorption indicator. If you are not able to see the absorption indicator and footprint chart, so you can download them from the bookmap chart by simply googling it. So for example, let's say absorption indicator bookmap. So if you just type this, you'll be able to land up in the absorption indicator window. So there you will be able to download the indicator using this particular link. Once this is downloaded, so you just have to simply go to the configure add-ons button over here and you can add the add-ons which are downloaded. As you can see, these are the downloaded add-ons. So footprint charts is by default available. So once I enabled it, okay, so let me explain you what exactly the absorption indicator is in simple words. You can see the condition over here. If within 2.5 seconds, okay, so this is the default setting, I haven't changed anything over here. If within 2.5 seconds, 2819 orders got executed, so then identify it as an absorption. So this is a condition. The logic behind it is very simple, that at any given point of time, okay, let me explain you with a chart over here. At this price level, okay, we can see the absorption here, okay. That means around 9,600 orders got executed at this price level within 2.5 seconds. And the beauty of the indicator is that it shows us based on the behavior, okay. So at this price level, it was an aggressive sell orders that got executed within 2.5 seconds. So the question over here is, if someone is aggressively selling the market within 2.5 seconds bracket, who is consuming those orders? Because for any market orders to get executed, there has to be the limit order opposite to that. All right. So in that sense, if this is happening within at same price level, if it is happening within the short period of time, then it will be identified as, just a moment, it will be identified as an absorption. And that shows us the presence of passive buyers. Okay. So you can see 9,600 orders got executed at this price level within 2.5 seconds. That's why this particular indicator identified this particular condition as an absorption, and specifically the passive buy absorption. If you go to the setting of absorption indicator, the green dots, the green indications will indicate the passive buyer or the presence of limit buyer. Okay. And passive seller means the pink color. You can see this is where we see the 3100 quantity of passive sellers. And again, here also there is one more setting I want to show you. So there is an automatic mode and manual mode. So right now I have disabled the automatic mode. That means you have to manually enter the orders. For example, let's say Nifty is present market size is the maximum number of orders that you can place in one order is 100 lots. So in that case, I'm going to keep it as 5000 quantities. That means 100 lots. So the indicator will show us only where the condition met of 5000 quantities executed at the same price level within 2.5 seconds. So this is one of the way. If you make it automatic, so that means software will automatically calculate based on the today's scenario. So I'm going to keep it as automatic mode because I don't want to change this particular number manually. One thing, if you want to do it, you can simply do it by 100 lots, or if you don't want to do that, automatic mode, it looks back 30-minute, the last 30-minute transactions, it considers the average volume of that particular 30-minute chart and it multiplies it by 5. So last 30-minute, assume that 5 is the average orders that got executed and multiplied by 5. So the input that will be considered here will be 25. Okay. So at the present moment, it is considering 2692. Since you are keeping it as an automatic mode, automatically this particular number will be updated based on the present recent information. So that's why I don't want to change anything over here in terms of the automatic mode. And then comes in terms of the footprint chart, I strongly recommend you to watch the last session because I have discussed a very basic of footprint charts. But to give you the perspective over here, I'm using a time interval. That means I'm looking into the specific interval, specific time. How much footprint interval is 5 minutes. Right now I'm looking into the 5-minute footprint chart information. And the bar width is nothing but the graphical information change. If I make it as 80, you can notice the change over here. Okay. So this is the footprint chart that we are looking into. So this is the footprint charts. If I just change the footprint charts width, okay, I will make it as 100. So then it will be automatically changed. Okay. So it's a visual representation. Then we have a horizontal smart scaling. So it is recommended to keep it active because so automatically the text and overall the bar width will be automatically adjusted. So smart scaling is absolutely important. So I don't want to change anything over here. And background time, I'm going to look into the histogram. Right now, whatever the information that we are seeing here, the graphical information, it's nothing but the histogram delta plus and minus. So it shows us three information. Number one, it shows us what are the number of orders that's got executed in terms of the sells and buys. So for example, in this case, this was the sell, this was the aggressive buy. Okay. So you can clearly see that at this price level 6150 levels, 6150 quantities executed as a market buy orders, and hence the bar is painted in the green color. And if you also notice the change over here in this price level, okay, there was around 26,800 quantities got executed in terms of the market buy. So even in this price level, buyers are aggressive. Okay. So that means aggressive buys are more, and comparing to this aggressive buy, this is more. That's why the relativeness, if you just look into the or compare the both levels, so the column width is more here. And one more important point is that the color of the bar. So you can compare, even though they are green, they are identified with the different colors. The shades, we can say the shades. The darker the shade is, more the number of activities or more number of transactions happened at that specific price levels. All right. So just a moment. So in this case, we can clearly see that the moment we look into this, we can see that this price level has got 26,800 market buy orders, and comparing to all the price levels, this is where we are seeing the more number of transactions. At the same time, they are the market buy orders were more aggressive in that price levels. That's the information we get from footprint charts. Okay. And one more critical information I want to show you. So you can change the transparency factor, and most important point over here is use shades. Okay. So if I disable the shades, it will only consider green and red colors to identify the bar colors. But if I use the shades, it will show us where the number of maximum activities happened. So it will show us, even though it is a green, so it will differentiate the overall number of transactions happened at that specific price levels. So then footprint bar type chart. So there are different way of calculating. So right now I'm using a buy into sell. So I don't want to change anything over there. So it shows us the buy into sell calculations of the footprint charts. Okay. The most important point over here is that the tick multiplier. Okay. So listen to me carefully. This is a critical information. So what this indicates is that it's nothing but the vertical width or vertical height of the bar. So let me explain you. This is a height of the column. Okay. So assume that it is 18,000. Okay. It is 18K and the high of the this bar is 18,003. How I'm considering 18,003? Because that will be calculated based on the input that give in the tick multiplier. So that's why this particular parameter is important. And in this case for Nifty, I'm using it as 3. That means for every 3 points, okay, so for every 3 points, the footprint charts will be calculated, and within that 3 points price level, so we will get the information of how much orders got executed, overall, what was the transaction, who were in control, and most importantly, what is the aggressiveness level of them. So these are the information we're going to get. So this will be changed. The tick multiplier will change based on the instrument present price level. For Nifty, I'm using presently 3. Okay. For Bank Nifty, I'm presently using 6, the double of Nifty. All right. So you have to adjust this according to the visual factor. So how the visual factor of the overall footprint charts are looking like. So it has to look clean. So that's the overall idea of giving a tick multiplier. So then once it is clear for you, then how we can use this information in order to take the decision. So that's the basic question, right? So I'm going to explain you the combo of absorption indicator and the footprint chart indicator. Okay, just a moment. Once the trend is clear, okay, once we know that the market is primarily moving in the upward direction, then we are looking for long opportunities, and then we are also clear with the critical price levels. Today it was a day high. So once this is clear for us, we can look for the long opportunities. How we can do that? Say for example, market took the correction over here, okay, and we saw the absorptions, the passive buying absorptions all over this particular trend, and from this point onwards market took the again the continuation of the trend happens over here. So in this particular case, okay, so we can look for the passive buying activity, first point, and the break of last swing high. That can also be the trigger or the entry trigger for us. All right. Or we can look for a specific price levels. In this case, the today's high was a specific key level for us. In that case, assume that the break of this particular level, you have taken an entry. This is one of the way to get into the trade, but it will be more aggressive kind of a trade. At this stage, market took the reversal. Okay, market took the reversal from this price level. So we know that this was the day high for Nifty, and right now this is where the swing is. So you can also look for the break of this particular swing and then also take the entry. So this is little conservative comparing to the last method, which is getting directly into the trade here. Or if you are little aggressive, so you can straight away take into the entry when there was an absorption, over here, and the break of last swing high can also be the trigger for entry. All right. Once this is clear, we can utilize the overall footprint chart information in order to either take an entry. Okay, just a moment. Yeah. Either take an entry or simply to trial our stop loss. For example, let's say, assume that you have taken an entry over here, okay, at this price level. Once you are entered, you know that you have to keep the stop loss to the last swing low or the last absorption level. Once your stop loss is placed, okay, for every 5 minutes, we will get the footprint chart information. We can utilize in the two ways. One is that where the number of maximum activities are happening. For example, let's say in this price level, there was an aggressive buy. Okay, there was an aggressive buy, and comparing to the overall level, it was relatively it was more number of buyer activities were more at this price level. Since we are into the long trade, we don't want to get into the trap. Okay, so just a moment. Just give me a moment. ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ just a moment. Yeah, just give me a moment. Okay, all right. So once this is clear, so assume that we have taken an entry over here, and this is where we know that the maximum number of activities happen. At the same time, the buyers or aggressive buys were more at this price level. Since we are in the long trade, we don't want anything or any particular aggressive buying activity happening in terms of our direction. So if the price is accepting above this particular price level, then it is very good for us. Okay, because the one who entered, aggressive buy who entered here, are strong enough to continue the price action in the upward direction. But by any chance price is taking the reversal from that particular price level, then that is a caution for us. In that case, we can simply look for trailing our stop loss to the as close as to or as close as possible, or we can reduce our stop loss so that we can also reduce our risk. This is one of the way we can use the footprint charts. This is point one. Or we can also use the footprint charts to keep our stop loss active. For example, let's say at this price level, okay, so when you entered over here, instead of keeping stop loss at the low level, you can simply keep your stop loss to the maximum number of activities that happened over here. All right, so maximum number of activities happened over here, and similarly after 5 minutes you can simply trial your stop loss. So in this case, the overall transaction happened at the higher level itself, so that was a caution for us. You can simply trial your stop loss to the last swing low. This is one of the way you can safeguard your profits. Or just a moment, yeah, say at the present moment, okay, so assume that you were in the trade, and this is where the maximum number of aggressive buying activity happened, and you can simply keep your stop loss just below the column. And at the present moment, let's say the stop loss is getting triggered over here, so that's a good thing. So we don't want to hold our losses, so we simply want to exit the trade whenever there is a caution. This is one of the way we can use the footprint charts. Or there is one more beautiful way we can use the footprint charts in order to take an entry or even the exit or stop loss condition. So in terms of the entry, okay, so let me explain you here. So by any chance, okay, this is the critical level that I identified. Okay, assume that this is the level where we are trying to monitor the price, and once the price approaches to this level, we will be getting a real-time information of the footprint charts as you are presently seeing. So as we can see that around 10,350 orders executed as a market sell orders, and that's a good point. But the follow-up of the price is absolutely critical. So assume that after this particular activity, if the price is, instead of moving downwards, if the price is accepting and if the price is moving again upward direction, then the sellers who entered over here, the sellers who entered over in this particular price is getting trapped. That's the basic identification of it. So just a moment. So the first information is that where the maximum number of activities are happening and what is the behavior of that volumes, and then comes the follow-up of the price, how the price is behaving after the information occurrence. So in this case, the price has to sustain above this particular price level at the present moment in order to actively trade in the upward direction. So if we at all want to look for a long opportunities, we can look for long opportunities above this particular level based on the price pattern. So we can simply look for the break of last high, if at all it happens. So if it is not happening, if the price is sustaining below this particular price level, then that's not a good sign for long opportunities or long trades. This is one of the way. Or once the critical levels are identified, for example, in this case, this is the level which plays a critical role, right? When price approaches to this level, we will be having a order flow information. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so once price approaches to this price level, okay, so we don't want to see any kind of aggressive buying activity with a more relative transactions. So something like this, okay, so these are the, assume that these are the bars, and maximum number of aggressive buys happened over here. Once this happens, we can simply trial our stop loss as close as possible, and if the price is sustaining above that, the overall aggressive buys level, then that's a good sign for us. We can continue to hold our trades in the original direction. This is one of the way we can use. So in simple words, the overall information of footprint will help us to identify where the maximum number of activities are taking place and what is the behavioral factor of that particular transactions, and based on that how we can take the decisions based on that particular information. All right, this is how we can utilize the information at the present moment. Since the price is looking in the upward direction, or presently trending in the upward direction, we are looking for a long opportunities. Okay, so break of this particular price level, or you can see this level, this is also one of the important key level where we are presently seeing a absorption as well. Okay, absorption and supported by more aggressive columns will be the better condition for us to look for a long opportunities. So if that happens, okay, listen to me carefully, there will be a short pullback, and again there will be a short pullback in the opposite direction. The break of this particular swing can be a better opportunity for us to look for a long trade. This is one of the way we can look for at the present moment in the Nifty. So let's look into the Bank Nifty information. Bank Nifty also we're looking for a long opportunities. Just a moment. But as I said, in terms of the aggressiveness or the decisiveness, Bank Nifty is still looking weaker comparing to the Nifty. All right. So in this particular case, we can look for long opportunities at the day low level, or when market approaches to this support level, then we can look for the information of footprint charts and as well as the absorption indicator information. Then we can look for the long opportunity, same pattern. Okay, so price approaches to this level, there will be a pullback and there will be a swing, and break of that particular swing can also be the entry point for us. All right, so if this is very clear for you, let me recall whatever the discussions that we had so far. The first thing is that we follow a framework called TLE. T means a trend. So in which way the market is presently trying to move. So basically identification of the trend. And then we have something called as location, where we identify the desirable locations or desirable specific locations for us to get into the trade. Support and resistances, previous day high, previous day low, IB high and IB low. Once that is clear, then we move on to the third step where we utilize the information. In today's I have discussed about the combo of absorption and the footprint charts. We can use this information in order to trigger the entry and exits, and also at the same time trial our stop loss so that we can safeguard our profits at the same time. All right, if this is very clear to you. All right, so just a moment. So if this is very clear for you, now let's look into the questions. So if you have any particular questions, you can ask. All right, so you can utilize the chart option over here. So if you just look into the right side, right top corner, you'll be able to see the open chat option. You can interact with me over here, or you can also go to the Bookmap India voice channel and open the chat. From there also you can interact with me. All right, so any questions on today's discussion? Okay, Venu is asking, hi sir, can you please show me the footprint parameters and footprint size? Okay, so for Nifty, okay, for Nifty footprint charts, I'm using the time interval setting for 5 minutes. Bar width is 100. Font size is maximum 14. Font size is 14, but I have enabled the smart scaling. So if I zoom in and zoom out, so it will be automatically updated. But the maximum number of footprint font size is basically 14. All right, and I'm using a histogram delta plus and minus, positive color green and negative color red, and I have enabled the use shades option. Transparency factor, you can change this according to, if I reduce the transparency of bar will be reduced. So if you keep it full, so it will be clearly visible. Is background right and left aligned, so I want to keep it as left aligned. If I enabled right enabled, so it will be opposite to the alignment. So it's basically the visual factors. Okay, and then buy into sell footprint types I am presently using. Text I have enabled. All right, and positive text and negative text color. So I made it as white only. There is no change. That's a default setting. Maximum font size is 14. Crypto rounding. So don't think too much about this. The main point for us is the tick multiplier. So I have kept it as 3 provided. So this is also one of the information I missed to tell you. So when you add a instrument, right? So let me add some instrument over here. Okay. So while enabling or while subscribing to the instrument, it will ask you what is the tick size that you want to look for. So if you want to use the footprint charts at the present moment, so you can keep it as 1. Okay. So this tick size is very important. So once this is kept as 1, okay, then if you give this information as 3, then it will consider as 3. If you keep it as that as 0.5, then if you give the input as 3 multiplied by 0.5, how much? 1.5. So while subscribing to the instrument, if you want to use the footprint charts, make sure that you keep it as 1 as the tick size. I hope that is clear. Any questions? See, that's the pattern that is presently been forming. We're breaking off this high, okay, provided price has to sustain above this aggressive selling level, or the maximum number of volumes happened that particular price level, the price has to sustain. So presently market is breaking that price level, and momentum is coming up in the upward direction. All right, so break of today's high, okay, break of today's high can bring additional momentum. And comparing to bank nifty is looking little convinced, or kind of conviction of longs is pretty much high in terms of the nifty for today's market. All right, so let's look into the information of, yeah, so price is presently struggling at day high. So let me change this to 15-minute chart now. So break of this high is very important at the present moment, 18,680. Break and sustenance of the price above this is quite important in order to gain any particular momentum in the upward direction. Similarly, let's check out bank nifty. If you have any particular question, feel free to ask in chat option. If you look at the opportunity part, so definitely bank nifty has a more opportunity in terms of the overall rewards. For example, let's say assume that the price is surviving above this particular swing, and room for bank nifty is quite bigger, but for nifty also it is very much bigger. 43,570 level can be easily targeted if the price is surviving above this level and price is sustaining and continuing its momentum. 43,570 can be a better target for bank nifty. All right, so just a moment. Any questions? There is one more way of calculating the footprint charts. If you go to the footprints, instead of time interval, you can also look for the range. Okay. Okay, so there is a question, can the footprint, okay, I will take the question in the first place and after that I will explain that feature. Can the footprint add-ons be combined with any other bookmap advanced add-on for better analysis of nifty and bank nifty, or is it a standalone? Okay, so you can use it as a standalone indicator combining with a price, but the better way is that I prefer, we can use the absorption indicator along with the footprint. Will give us, first thing, that this particular lines help us to identify the structure within the candle, point 1, and point 2, footprint will help us the levels, price levels, identify the price levels where the maximum number of activities happened, and also the behavior of that particular transactions. And most importantly, the absorption will help us to identify the possible reversals in the structure. For example, let's say if the market is moving in the upward direction, so the possibility of us getting the absorptions in this particular key levels, okay, is very much high. So you can clearly notice that if I just zoom out the overall price, so you can clearly see that. Okay, so let me disable the footprint and show you. So we can clearly see that wherever the absorptions are taking place, obviously market is forming a structure over there. Okay, so that's the beauty of absorption indicator, very much critical, and we can combine both absorption and also the footprint charts to gain more clarity and also conviction. All right. Yeah, we can also utilize the sweep indicator. Sweep indicator will help us to identify the momentum. So I'll explain. I think that combo I'll be explaining in the next week. I'll try to explain it in the next week. All right. Sweep indicator. All right. So we can also utilize that, or we can also combine. Okay. We can also look for the information of this cumulative delta. Okay. This is also one of the beautiful way to look for any kind of reversals. For example, let's say market is presently moving in the upward direction. We know we have identified the trend as upward direction and we are looking for a long opportunities. Either we can enter at the break of specific levels, or we can look for the reversal trades, mean reversal rates, let's say at the present moment. Okay, this is a hypothetical example. Presently, market has trended in the downward direction in this swing, but we are looking for a long opportunities. So, in terms of the overall, this cumulative delta. So, if this is also going down and the price is also moving in the downward direction, that indicates or that shows the overall relativeness between both the actions. But if the price is moving down, if the price is making lower lows, but the cumulative delta is making a higher loss, then there is a divergence, as simple as as similar to the RSI divergence. So if the divergence is between the price, the structure of the price, and the cumulative delta structure, then that indicates the overall selling activity that happened in the price is more weaker. And provided along with an absorption, if there is an absorption at the same time and market is moving the upward direction, we can look for aggressive entry. Okay, aggressive long entry in this particular case by just keeping the stop loss below the absorption level. I hope that is clear. That is also one of the strong way to get into the trade. Little aggressive, but it can offer the bigger rewards, right? Any other questions? Give me a moment. Okay, time interval types. Okay. So we go to the footprint charts. Time interval right now I'm using as 5 minute. If you want, you can change it to the 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I strongly recommend, because for every trader it differentiates. So some user will use 5-minute charts and someone will use a 15-minute charts. So whatever the time frame that you are monitoring at the present moment, let's say I don't want to change anything, so I want to monitor the footprints in 5 minutes. If you are a trader who monitors the 15-minute candles in the price chart, so then you can look for a 15-minute information of the footprint charts. So The logic remains the same, but intervals of the time will change. Up to 30 minutes you can change it. So right now I'm going to use it as a 5-minute information. All right, so it's nothing but the specific time information within which we look for the calculation of the footprint charts. All right, so Venu is asking POC parameters, please. Okay, so if you just enable the SVP, okay, session wise range volume profile, right click on it, configure columns, then you will be able to, or you will have the option to enable the POC on the chart. If you just enable this, okay, you can change the color setting and all, so you can do that. Okay, so point of control is nothing but the price level where the maximum number of transactions happened. So if the POC is trending in the upward direction, okay, so that means market is accepting in the upward direction. So there is more demand in the market, and hence the overall number of transactions are taking place on an average in the upward direction. This is a powerful tool to identify the immediate trend of the market, immediate change of the trend in the market. So for today's market, you can clearly see that the point of control earlier it was in this level, and then this is at this level, and in present moment it is presently trading at 18,670. So if you identified the overall price, as per the price the market was moving in the upward direction, and similarly point of control is also moving in the upward direction, that adds a point to the initial discussions or initial consideration of the price trend. So if the point of control is continuously making a lower lows and lower rise, that means the overall price is presently trending in the downward direction, and the volumes are taking, the more and more volumes are taking place in the downward direction. That shows the acceptance. I want to explain you this logic or the concept. One is that the price moving in a certain direction and price accepting in certain direction. So the time factor and the volume factor considers, or it counts when it comes to the part of acceptance. So acceptance of the price is very much critical for us to monitor the price and also look for a trade opportunities. For example, let's say we assume or we are looking for a long opportunities. As long as price survives and sustains at the higher levels, that is a good sign for any particular long opportunities. So number of time, the more the number of time it spends in our direction, and more number of volumes or more number of acceptance which we identify using the point of control. So that's a good sign for us to stay in the long trade, all right, or any particular trend direction that you have identified. So we can identify that acceptance part by using the point of control. So we can clearly see how beautifully market is presently trending. So we identified this is where the overall absorption we have seen, and market is presently surviving above this particular price level, and we are seeing a momentum. All right. So break of the today's high can additionally add further momentum to the overall price. All right. I hope that is clear and was helpful. So if you have any questions, you can ask, or we will simply. Okay. So there is a big question from JV. Can we say that footprint chart shows the number of contracts traded while absorption shows whether the limit order is completely absorbed? And if price moves beyond the absorption point, okay, the price is expected to continue the same direction as price is accepted. Okay, that's a brilliant question from JV. So who is asking? Just a moment. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So absorption shows whether the limit order is completely absorbed. Okay, that's the one point. So that will be identified using the absorption indicator. And price is expected to continue in the same direction as the price is accepted if the price is surviving above the absorption level. Absolutely. If the price is accepting particularly above the overall absorption levels, okay, and the maximum number of level that we see in the footprint charts, that's a good sign for us. So for example, in this case, price is presently surviving above this aggressive sell. So that means whoever sold here, right, so aggressively sold the market over here, are getting trapped, or maybe they were the profit booking. So the question here is, if someone is aggressively selling, so who is consuming those orders? So in that case, number one is that the identification of this behavior of the price, behavior of the volume, and how the price is behaving. So how the price is behaving, so that we define it based on the acceptance or based on the price behavior. So price, as I said earlier, I was discussing, price has to survive above this particular level and it has to spend more time above this price level, then that's a good sign for us. So that's how we can, integrate the information. I hope that is clear. Any other questions? So this is how the powerful the absorption indicators are. So you can clearly see how beautifully the overall absorptions have identified. But the most important point, always go by the framework. That will help you. One thing is to avoid the unnecessary trades, and second, just a moment. Yeah. Second is to have the clear framework and clear picture that what I should do, what I should not do. So just because you are seeing the absorption, you should not get into the long trade. So we are aligning this information with the present trend. So that will help us, or that will give the power for us to align with the basic trend. So we are not looking for a trade or looking for an opportunity against the present trend. So that's why framework is absolutely important. All right. So where can traders purchase Bookmap's footprint add-ons? Okay. So I think I have shown that information. Just give me a moment. If you visit the bookmap.truedata.in, we just right now I'm using the Bookmap India Pro version, which covers almost all the majority of the advanced add-ons, cumulative, volume, delta. You can see that all these advanced add-ons, VWAP is basically the basic indicator, but correlation tracker, absorption indicator, sweep indicator, footprint is by defaultly enabled for the Pro version, and instrument copy, break-even point, price levels, and cross BBO. So all these are the advanced add-ons that you are going to get with the Bookmap Pro version for future CDS equity. All right. And in case we see lower numbers of contracts being traded above the absorption point, okay, Zevi is asking one more question, would mean that it could be a fake breakout or okay. So I strongly recommend you that don't completely concentrate or don't try to concentrate on the numbers. Why? Because it always, you cannot say that this is a bigger number. There is always a, what do you say? There is always the bigger number or the smaller number comparing to the present information. So it is important. So if you have a number information, it is important to have the reference for it. Okay. If you don't have a reference for it or the means for it, then definitely it make no sense for us to look for the information of the numbers alone, standalone. So that's why it is important for us to look for the relative information. For example, let's say at the present moment, how can you say that the 18,150, let me zoom in a bit. So how can you say that 10,700 is the bigger number? All right. You cannot say that just by looking at the number. But if you have a relativeness to that, so for example, let's say if you just compare this price level, which has a 4,850, aggressive buys, wherein this particular level has 10,700 aggressive buys. So if you have a comparison, then obviously it makes sense to look at the numbers. Yes, depending on what point of the candle. Yeah. If you just looking at the overall information of that particular specific candle, if you have a comparison number, then absolutely it makes sense. Absolutely it makes sense. So some reference has to be there if you are depending on the numbers. I hope that is clear. Any other questions? Just a moment. So overall, let me recall an information one. So today we have discussed about the basic framework. So basically TLE, trend, location, and entry and exits. So for trend, we utilize the information of the price historical data to identify the existing trend, and we look for the trading opportunities, either it is long and short, based on the existing trend. If the market is making higher highs and higher lows, if the market is in uptrend, then we look for a long opportunities either at the breakout or the pullback. Or if the market is moving in the downward direction primarily, then we look for a shorting opportunities either at the break of the last supports or the pullback at the resistances. That's one of the information. If the market is moving in the sideways direction, then we look for the buy low and sell high activities, or buy and buy low sell high kind of trading opportunities that we look for if the market is presently trending in the sideways market. So context is important for us. First thing is to identify the trend, second thing is to identify the desirable locations, and third thing is to identify the trading opportunities using the information of any information, like it may be an absorption indicator, footprint indicator. We can use these information in order to take an entry and exit, and also be cautious about the present change of the market, and based on that we can simply trial our stop loss according to the present information that has been plotted by the market. All right, so this is how we look for trading opportunities. I hope that is clear, and thank you so much for your wonderful time. I hope today's session added value to you. Please consider this as a educational information. Don't consider it as a buy or sell recommendations. The information that I've shared for now is for educational purpose only. It is not any buy or sell recommendations. Please do thorough research before taking any decisions. Please do thorough research before taking any decisions, because trading and investments are subject to market risk. So keep attending the sessions. The information will be dynamic according to the dynamics of the market. See you next Monday. Thank you so much for your time. Just a moment.